So Spotify just informed me that the top countries that listen to my podcast are the US, obviously, Canada, the UK, Germany, Ireland, and rounding out the bottom, out of left field, South Africa. So whether you're actually from those countries or, just an FBI agent masking their location with a VPN, I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm trying to make this podcast grow and expand. And so if you want to support what I'm doing here, if you like what I'm doing here, one of the ways you can help me out by supporting me is hitting subscribe or follow, or even a little thumbs up would be helpful. So thank you. And I appreciate all of you. If you're not into watching the whole podcast, and for those of you with short attention spans, I also post short clips of it on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube. So you can check those out if you are interested. As a content creator, I get to see all of the statistics and all the analytics every time I post a new video each week. And I'm finding it real hard not to get sucked into those metrics every time I post something. I've got a really addictive personality. And so every time I post a new video, it's real easy for me to get caught up in this dopamine loop of just hitting refresh, 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 just to watch my numbers slowly, creep up every 3 minutes. So it's real good for my mental health is what I'm getting at. And so a few days ago, I was going over my stats on YouTube and I noticed a pattern. I saw that every single one of my YouTube videos, somebody's been giving me a thumbs down. It's just one, just a single little boop, but it's bugging me. And I know that not everybody's going to like my content. I'm not for everybody, and to each their own. And, there's always going to be haters out there. And yet it's still kind of bugging me. It's like, who is this person? Are they just like having a bad day? Do they have a personal vendetta against me? Are they suffering from a mental illness? Did their mother not hug them enough as a child? Like, do they not like my new serial killer glasses? Like, what is it? Who is this person? And I just try to tell myself, like, maybe it was an accident, give them the benefit of the doubt. I fantasize about these scenarios where, maybe they're eating lunch and got maybe a little bit of sauce on their screen or something, and maybe they're wiping it off with a little napkin or something. And in the process of doing that, they gave me a thumbs down on accident or something. I don't know. Maybe they handed their phone to their toddler and that little demon spawn gave me a thumbs down on accident trying to find something on YouTube Kids. Like, I don't know. But it's bugging me. And it's even more frustrating to me personally because these last few years I've been working real hard trying to, stop chasing outside validation from people in order to give myself a sense of self-worth and value. And, every time I see that thumbs down, I just have to try to remind myself, there's somebody in South Africa that loves what I'm doing here. So just keep going. But maybe, I try to rationalize it and wrap my mind around it. But maybe at the end of the day, this is just the universe's way of just kind of balancing everything out so that I don't get too big of an ego or too full of myself, which is real easy to do. But that thumbs down is just so diabolical because it means that somebody went out of their way to look me in the eye and say, you suck. Right? It reminds me of the old hag from Princess Bride who just goes, boo, bow down to the queen of slime, the queen of filth, the queen of putrescence, right? Because at the end of the day, when I'm looking at my stats, it makes me feel like a queen of putrescence, guys. That's what I'm getting at here. And I feel like the same people who give a thumbs down on YouTube videos are the same people in medieval Europe who go down to the town square every week and chuck rotten fruit at the criminals just before they get executed, right? Like it's a real specific type of human being that goes out of their way to do that. And so I just want to say to whoever that one person is who's just seething every time I post a new video or new content, I just want you to know that I see you, I love you, I respect you as a human being, and I just want to say, fuck you. Hello, Misfits. Welcome back to the cult. Good to see you again. If you didn't check out the last episode entitled Lunch Ladyland, it's a pretty good one. I talk about my time working at a school cafeteria and all of the juicy drama that's been going on there. So if that's your sort of thing, I suggest you check it out because it's real juicy. But in that episode, I sort of felt led to talk about certain things in my personal life, and that's what I want to talk about here. Is oftentimes I feel led by the divine or my intuition or all of the above, telling me to do a certain thing or say a certain thing or act a certain way, etc., and lead me down a specific path. And that's why I felt led to make that video, sort of explaining what's been going on in my life. And as I said in the last video, I'd give you guys an update. I've been dealing with, hiring a lawyer, but I didn't have enough money to hire a lawyer. I needed $500 to hire that lawyer in order to pursue all of the juicy drama that was happening at the school cafeteria. And God said, talk about it. And I was like, I don't want to talk about my financial problems in front of everybody. And God said, that's why I want you to do it, my boy. It makes you uncomfortable. It puts you outside your comfort zone. So go on now, get. And so I did. I started talking and telling everybody and explaining to you that I needed $500 and that I would come back later and tell you guys exactly how it worked out, because I'm a firm believer that everything always works out some way, somehow, oftentimes not in the way that I anticipate or expect or have tried to control and plan. It often just happens the way that it happens. And so that's what I want to talk about is I recorded that video and posted it, and about 24 hours later, I got a message from a very good friend of mine. And the weird thing is that the night before, I had a dream about this friend randomly. Well, I haven't even talked to him in a while, to be honest with you, and haven't seen them in a while. And they randomly popped into my dream. And in the dream, I was in my bed, and there was a window by my bed, and they just sort of popped their head in. We're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "Okay, hi. What are you doing here?" And then, sure enough, the next morning I wake up and I get a text message from this person, and so I'm like, "What are you doing here? Hi, like, good to hear from you." And they told me that they want to help me out and offered to give me $500 to cover the legal fees in order to go against all of these ladies that were fighting me at the cafeteria. And I'm so grateful, right? And everything just always works out perfectly. And it just made me laugh because it's oftentimes in ways that I don't expect, right? And so I was encouraged by her for offering me the money, and I'm so thankful for her. And she gave me these encouraging words. She said, go bust those bitches. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go bust those bitches. I hired a lawyer, and the ball's rolling. The process has started, and I will keep you guys updated as is legal and appropriate. I don't want to fumble this thing by telling you guys too much, but wheels are in motion, and I'm kind of excited. And every time I talk to the lawyer on the phone, I'm just seeing 111 on the clock and 222, and all these angel numbers start flying out of the walls. So that's encouraging. But yeah, I just feel like I'm heading in a good direction. Oftentimes in my life, the universe will tell me to do something that sounds absurd to me at the time, something that doesn't make any sense to me, something that isn't logical. And I'm like, oh, I don't get it, right? I often talk about that time when I found some money on the ground. I really needed some money to pay certain bills, and I was freaking out to the max, and I was praying about it, and I had a big, a ball of stress the size of a bowling ball in my gut every night when I went to bed and every morning when I woke up, and I just couldn't sleep, and that sort of a deal. And I was just praying about it. And one day I was walking along the sidewalk and I saw some cash on the ground, and it happened to be the exact amount of freaking cash that I needed. And I just had to laugh and smile and say thank you to God. Like, what? Okay, wow, thank you. The next morning, I got this message from God that said, go back to that spot where you found that cash. This is like a year ago. Go back to that spot, and there's going to be more cash for you. Now, the day before, I scoured the ground pretty good. I made sure that I grabbed up all those bills that were on the ground. I just found cash just strewn all over the ground. And God said, go back. There's more for you. And I was like, okay, I mean, I did a pretty good job, but whatever you say. And sure enough, I went back to the exact same spot, and I found another $100 that was hidden under a bush. And I was like, well, okay, you got me there. Thank you, God. So these things happen to me frequently enough that I take notes and talk about it frequently enough that I'm like, I can see the pattern, right? Like people thumbs downing my videos. I'm very good at pattern recognition. And so I start to realize and remember when these things happen in my life that, okay, sometimes God's going to lead me down a weird tunnel and it may or may not be scary to me. It may not make sense to me, but I'm just going to freaking do it because there's something there and I can't explain it. Just go. And so that's what I did with that video. I explained that I needed $500 for a lawyer and I don't get why I'm doing this, but okay, I don't really want to talk about it. I'm kind of a private person in real life, guys. So making these videos is very much outside my comfort zone. Granted, I've gotten much more used to it over the years, right? Of doing these videos and podcasts, but it stretches me. I don't like to share things about my personal life. So that's why God says, do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to grow as a human being. What do you mean do it? But here I am. So, so God said, make a video about how you need money. And then sure enough, my dear friend reached out to me and offered me $500. The same thing happened just like a month ago. I needed some money to pay for rent. And randomly a family member reached out to me and said, hey, and I prayed about it, right? Like, hey, God, I don't know what to do here, but as always, I know you take care of me. So do your thing, please, and lead me down the right path. I appreciate it. And I'm grateful for this process that I don't understand or comprehend with my tiny human mind. But, I had a family member randomly reach out to me and offer me some money to help with rent. And I'm like, wow. Like I'm learning that everything comes out at the exact same time. I'm learning to trust in this divine timing that I yap about so much because it's so important in my life. And maybe you need to hear it. That's why I have to talk about it so much. But I'm learning to trust in divine timing and these divine processes that don't make any sense to me, and then they end up working out, right? I was just reminded of a Bible story that you may or may not know about Peter. There's a passage about Peter Pumpkin Eater. Nope, that's a different guy. About Peter, and he needed to pay some taxes, but he didn't have the money for the taxes, which I can sure relate to, right? So he didn't have enough money, and I'm sure he was panicking a little bit and kind of freaking out a little bit, like, how are we going to scrounge this money together, right? And Jesus basically said, I'm sort of brushing this over and making it, I'm not going to exactly quote the Bible, guys. So if you're a Bible scholar, like I don't need the exact quotes. Jesus basically said to him, bro, chill out. What I want you to do is go down to the lake, the Sea of Galilee. I don't know where he told him to go, right? Go down to the water, grab your fishing pole, throw a line into the water, see what bites, and as soon as you get a bite, reel it up and see what happens. And I'm sure Peter was like, I don't want to go fishing. I just need some money. Like, can you loan me some money, Jesus? Like, what are we doing here? But sure enough, Peter went down to the water with his fishing rod, and I'm sure he was rolling his eyes like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what am I going to, you know, hook onto a bag of money with a dollar sign on it, like a cartoon? Like, is there a treasure chest that I'm like, I don't get it. What do you mean go fishing? I need money. I don't need fish. But sure enough, he went down to the water, right? Snagged himself a fish, reeled that bad boy in, and he opened up the mouth of the fish, and there was a gold coin in the mouth of the fish. And the gold coin, you guessed it, I'm sure, was the exact amount of money that he needed to pay his taxes. Right? These are the types of stories that are in the Bible. These are the types of stories that happen in my life over and over again, just to remind us that we're always taken care of, right? Sometimes I need the reminder, especially when I'm panicking at 3 a.m. and I can't sleep, and I'm stressed out and I'm freaking out. I need these little reminders that it's all going to work out somehow. Just relax, right? I'm constantly having God remind me that if God will take care of the sparrows every day, then of course he's going to take care of us, his children, right? And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, I guess, right? But it's more complicated as a human. Sometimes I wish I had the life of a sparrow. I just want to eat my seed every day and do little chirps and tweets and go to bed at the end of the night. But that's not what I was incarnated into. I was incarnated into this gorgeous human body. And so we got a little more complications. We got bills, we got jobs, we got complex emotions, and we got fish with gold coins. So that's what we're dealing with over here. But I just like to remind, it helps to hear that these things work out. It helps to hear these inspirational stories of like, okay, God's got my back, I guess. Even when you're in the midst of it and it feels like the storm is about to take you down and everything is collapsing all around you. I've been there on this last few months. That's been my life. But what I'm doing is being thankful in these challenging times, right? Rather than being stressed out and victimhood and shaking my fist to the heavens, like, why is this happening to me? Instead, I'm like, thank you. Because really what it's doing is it's giving me an opportunity to practice. It's giving me an opportunity to chill the F out, right? To just remember that it's all going to be good. Just wait and see how it's going to be good. And it's not going to be good in your cute little timetable, Matt, but it's going to be good eventually, right? The ebb and the flow of life. And so I'm learning patience, right? Which I've gotten a lot better at over the years. Not perfect by any means whatsoever, but just practice waiting for divine time, practice patience for divine timing to come into play, right? How am I going to get this money? I don't know. I'm freaking out. And then it just happens. I'm like, oh, well, that was easy. Okay. But it's God intervening when it's just effortless, right? I try to scramble. I try to control things. I try to like get my grip around it, wrestle with it, and I try to force it to go this way or that way, or I try to like, and then it doesn't work. Have you ever noticed that? It doesn't work. So what I'm learning to do is let go of that control, right? Stop white knuckling everything and release it to the divine and just say, okay, you do it. You do your thing. Because whatever I'm doing over here is not working so good. And so it's a practice, right? Just like going to gym, just like doing exercises, like eventually I'll get better and better at it. And I am, right? Baby steps, but just learning to release, right? Learning to stop trying to control everything. So that's difficult for me. I've been trying to release things that are no longer serving me lately. That's been a fun game as well, which I talk about here and there in these videos if you've been following me. I'm in a real season in my life where I'm feeling led to let go of things that no longer serve me, not just substances that no longer serve me, like alcohol or coffee or sugar or on and on and on. It's quite a long list, guys. It's very extensive. But Instagram all day long, or these thought patterns and beliefs that I have in my head over and over again that no longer serve me, right? Patterns of fear and worry and anxiety that just don't serve me anymore, right? Like fear has a purpose in my life, right? And it can be a useful tool in my life if I let it be so. But oftentimes I used to let it overtake me. I used to let it rule my life, and that's not the case anymore. So, um, fear taking over my life doesn't serve me anymore. So I've learned to transmute that and turn it into something that's more useful for me, right? That I can sort of analyze and use it as an alert in my life, like alert, alert, alert. We've got something to analyze here. And I'm like, okay, something is needing my attention. That's why the sphere is showing up. Let's look at it. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's move through it rather than letting it blockade me, right? And so these things that I struggle with, like these substances that I'm trying to let go of that no longer serve me, I let go of weed months and months ago because it just wasn't serving me anymore. It used to be a beautiful, beautiful medicine that I would make me creative and less stressful and help me to get through, Thanksgiving holidays with my family and, all of these things. Opened up my mind, and it just came to a point where it just no longer served me anymore. It wasn't doing the things that it used to do, and it just was making me lazy and paranoid and dumb and cloudy. I always had a cloudy mind because of it, and I had to eventually let that go, and it feels good, right? The analogy that's not anything new, but the analogy that God kind of gave me was a snake shedding its skin, right? Now, these things that I'm trying to let go of in my life that no longer serve me, that represent the old versions of me, that don't represent the new versions and the new chapters I'm trying to step into, it's not something that happens overnight. Matt wants it to happen at the snap of a finger. I want to be changed and transformed immediately, which is to say, I don't want to go through the hard parts, right? I don't want to go through the challenging parts of shedding that skin, right? And so I was reminded by the divine that the shedding of the skin doesn't happen immediately, that it requires friction and patience and persistence, and it's very uncomfortable, right? It's a long process of peeling and scrubbing and scratching and rubbing up against rocks and rubbing up against dirt and trees and like trying to get it off, right? It's a process. And so I'm trying to give myself grace and love during that process of shedding the old me so that I may step into the new me and recognizing that it's not going to happen overnight. Right? Even though I want it to. And so it's a constant shedding process. The skin doesn't get shed once and okay, it's the new me. Hi, this is it forever. No. And I wish it was, because again, I don't want to go through the difficult process of the shedding. But I'm reminded that this is a shedding season right now, and there will be the new you, and then eventually you will grow again, right? As I step outside my comfort zone, as I face my fears, as I, um, do things that make me uncomfortable. There's going to be another shedding season and another shedding season. And basically, God said, get used to it. Like, the sooner you can get used to these shedding seasons, these shedding periods of transformation, the easier it's going to get on you. Not completely easy. It's not going to be, rainbows and roses, but it'll help the process along to recognize it when it's happening instead of freaking out like, oh, why is everything in my life collapsing? Well, it's because you're shedding. Right? It's like the tree freaking out that its leaves are falling, or the snake's freaking out that it's losing its layer of skin, rather than recognizing what the hell's going on here. Recognizing it as a shedding, recognizing it as a change of season, it helps me to grapple with it a little bit better. So I don't freak out and panic as much, knowing that A, God has my back, and B, this is a natural process. And C, at the end of it, I'm going to be so much better because of it. Shinier and cooler. Right? I might even get new glasses at the end of the process, guys. Who know? I don't know how this thing works completely. But the other image that the divine gave me was like when I'm going through letting go of these things and I'm stepping into a new chapter, I tend to get a little bit wobbly. It reminded me of like an ice skating rink or a roller skating rink. If you've never roller skated before and it's your first time, like if you're a child, like the first time I took my kids to a roller skating rink, they were a hot mess. Right? They were clinging to the side of the roller rink wall, and they refused to go out with the flow of everybody else. They refused to go away from that wall because that was their safety zone. Right? But eventually, once they got their footing a little bit and practiced and did a couple of rounds of falling on their ass, which is going to happen. I don't want to fall on my ass. I don't like that part of the process. But God said, well, I gave you padding back there for a reason. It's because you're going to be falling on your ass a lot. So I'm like, well, that's cool. Thank you. And so as I'm going around the roller skating rink, metaphorically, I have to remind myself to be kind to myself, like I was to my kids. Like, that's okay. You're doing a great job, right? I don't expect them to be Olympic level skaters at this point. Like, cling to the wall, do what you got to do to not fall on your ass as often, and eventually you're going to get the hang of it. Eventually you're going to get the confidence to go out and explore the rink, right? To explore your new skills. You're going to fall a little bit less often now, and that sort of thing. So as I let go of these things in my life, I try to recognize that it's not going to happen overnight, right? I'm not going to be a superstar overnight, and it's okay to fall on my ass once in a while. I've been watching the show Pluribus on Apple TV. If you guys haven't, I highly recommend it. I'm pretty obsessed with it. It's very good. It's from the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So I can't say enough good things about it. It's very, very good. So check it out if you haven't already. But essentially, it's a story of the basic plot is that some sort of an alien beam from another galaxy or whatever hits the Earth and basically transforms all humans into a collective hive mind, right? So everybody loses their individuality, but everybody immediately is full of peace and love and joy and happiness and sense of community, and all anger and fear and all of these other human emotions on the negative side completely disappear. However, the plot twist is that there are several people across the planet. There's about 12 people across the planet that have not been affected by this beam. And so they are still very human and very fearful and very angry and have all the full spectrum of human emotions. And they think that these, pod people, that this collective consciousness is on the planet, that they've all lost their minds, right? But the people who have been hit by the mysterious alien beam are all talking to these people that haven't been converted yet. And they're like, please, you don't understand how peaceful this is. Like, the old way is so antiquated. Like, we don't ever want to go back to the old way. And the protagonist of the show is like, I want my individuality. I don't want to be a part of the hive mind. I'm my own person. I'm independent, which I fully understand, right? and refusing to become a part of the collective, refusing to become a part of the new version of humanity, according to the show, right? And so it just sort of connected with me personally, because I often have a difficult time letting go of these old versions of myself, right? These senses of safety and security in my life, these old crutches in my life that give me that sense of security. And I don't want to let go of those. I grip onto them quite tightly because that's what makes me feel safe, rather than knowing and listening to that subtle voice within, the voice of the divine that's saying, release, let go. There's something better for you waiting on the other side. You just can't see it yet, right? And I'm like, yeah, but what if it's not great? Right? What if it doesn't work out? And God just smiles. Oh, Matt, if you could only see it from my perspective, right? But I see it from my puny human perspective, which is laced in fear and worry and anxiety. And so I'm learning to push through that. I'm learning to trust that there is something better for me on the other side. And I've seen it in my own life. When I let go of marijuana, it was much better. At the time, I did not want to let go of it because that's all I knew. Well, how am I supposed to have a fun personality without being stoned out of my mind? How am I supposed to be creative if I'm not stoned out of my mind? How am I supposed to enjoy time with my family if I'm not stoned out of my mind? Well, it turns out I can do all those things sober. And I was like, okay, fine, God, you were right. You were right. I'll make a note of that. You were right. This time, maybe not next time. Right? Like, why do we play these games? So every time God tells me to let go of something, it's better on the other side once you let go of it. I'm practicing saying, okay, fine. I don't do it overnight, right? Because I'm still practicing and learning and growing, but I'm getting there and I'm getting better at the uptake. But eventually, I'm going to get myself to a place where when God says release, I just release, because I know it's much better to just release it now and embrace whatever's on the other side. So maybe you're going through something in your own life where you're being asked or you felt led to release something, and just let this be encouragement. I've let go of several things in my life. I'm currently releasing several things in my life, and I think I'll be releasing things my entire life, because there's always things I'm going to grip on tightly to. And so it's just a practice of letting go, and it's about doing it for yourself, right? Because so often I was like trying to become sober for my family, or trying to become sober for my kids, or trying to become sober for God. That was a thing, right? I was like, well, God's not going to bless me unless I'm sober. I better get sober for God. Otherwise, I'm not good enough in his eyes, right? I played that game for a long time. And finally, I realized I've got to do it for myself, right? And you hear that so often in AA, or people who are in recovery or trying to get sober, whatever. They've got to do it for themselves. And I get it. And I'm saying, yes, I had to get myself to a place mentally where I had to do it for myself. The last block in that was God. I was doing it for God. And I started recognizing, but God actually told me, let that go, right? You have to do it for yourself. You have to do it because you want to be sober, because you want to let go of these things in your life, and not just substances, but because you want to put your phone down for a little while, because you want to go out into nature and have some fresh air, because you want to break these patterns and beliefs, et cetera, right? So I know you can do it. If I can do it, then you can do it. I'm a dingus. I'm a complete dingus. So if I can do it, please, please trust that you can do it. Because if a dingus can do it, then you can too. And maybe you're a dingus, maybe you're a misfit like me, and we fit in. That's why we're talking now together. But I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself, even if your family doesn't believe in you, even if you feel like society doesn't believe in you. I believe in you, and I love you, and I'll see you next time.